Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Gali Lyons. Thanks for joining us. We have a lot to share this week, starting off with the No Kings Rally protest. National protests continue to happen across the country. Jada Hunt takes us to the No Kings protest happening in our area.
Greenville's third No King protest, where community members gather to make sure they hold the current administration accountable.
The true enemy is the system of capitalism.
From the upstate to cities across the country, the message has remained the same. Thousands of protesters called out the current administration over issues like the war in Iran, immigration, and women's rights. But for the women behind the local rally, the issue was personal.
I was traveling out of the country the first 2 weeks of Trump's administration, so I caught up on those 2 weeks all at once, and it really made me mad. So I found a protest the next day, and I thought, somebody's got to do more, and I'm somebody, so I just did it.
Michelle Shara was once just an everyday community member. Since the current administration took office, she has gained a sense of political purpose, working closely with Greenville Hotline to provide aid to immigrants and helping organize rallies like this one.
I work in manufacturing. I've never done political activism. I've attended a couple protests, but when this all happened, I just had to get involved. I just feel too strongly to not make it happen, to make sure this happens.
Wilson, Lindsey Graham, Nancy Mace.
It's so fulfilling. It is so amazing to have these thousands of people here and then thousands of protests all over the country all in the same day. It really makes it worth it because this is so much work.
The protest took place in 3 separate locations as community members walked together from one city plaza to City Hall to Falls Park with one message: no monarchy and no kings. This is Jada Hunt reporting for Nightly News. Back to you.
For students seeking access to immigration resources, the Greenville Hotline offers updates on ICE activity while also providing support, guidance, and resources for immigrant communities. Text 864-997-4221 for more information. As ICE continues to arrest and detain immigrants, concerns rise over the amount of people detained and the conditions of the prisons they are held in. Trip Case has the story.
Private prisons they are held in are starting to face scrutiny.
According to The Guardian, private prisons such as the South Texas Family Residential Center in Dilley, Texas, have faced backlash over conditions in the facility. There have been 2 confirmed measles cases coming from the facility, and the people who have been held there say that the food served contains mold and worms. Core Civic, parent company of the facility, claims that these statements are false, that the health and safety of those they are holding are a top priority. According to the transactional records of Access Clearinghouse, out of the 68,289 people held in detention centers, 73.6% of them have never been convicted of a crime. When it comes to immigration court cases, there's a backlog of 3,318,099 cases. 333,957 cases have been closed, but they have been replaced by 100,878 new cases. With Furman having such a large international student community, concerns over immigration continue to rise. While no Furman student has been detained by ICE so far, the U.S. immigration process has not been easy. Nguyen Vu is an international student from Vietnam who had difficulties coming back to Furman over the summer.
Last summer when I was in Vietnam, I tried to renew my student visa, but the Trump administration, I think they halted all visa renewal applications and visa applications for a good month or so.
There is also Anthony Burke, born in Australia and being raised by 2 immigrants, but has lived most of his life in the United States. Anthony became a U.S. citizen just last year, but concerns from his mom made his process more stressful.
My mom was more concerned about this than I was, but I became a citizen a few weeks or a month or 2 at the ceremony, after Trump was inaugurated. And so he talks about all the immigration stuff in his campaign and everything. And so I think my mom was a little worried because technically I was going out to my citizenship ceremony, and if I got any sort of traffic ticket or I committed any sort of crime, then it would be pushed back for 18 months.
Core Civic is expected to make $180 million this year off of the private prisons. And with ICE now having a larger presence, especially in international airports, that number may rise. For Nightly News, this is Trip Case.
As ICE detains more people, the death toll of those in ICE custody also rises. I investigated. Here's what I found out. Already 13 people have died in federal immigration custody just this year. As of March 18th, the total under Trump's second presidency is 43. That is almost triple over what it has been in previous years.
When you do hear about what's going on, it's really disgusting, honestly, and sad to hear about. And I think that we as people who are taking in this information need to be a little bit more mindful about what's going on in general.
Emmanuel Damas, an immigrant from Haiti, was detained in Arizona. What started as a painful toothache later resulted in his death. The most treatment he received in detention was ibuprofen.
Detainees described Mr. Damas in excruciating pain. They called the medical care, quote, fatal. His face had swollen to the size of a potato. He could no longer speak or walk. Night after night, he begged for help, but was ignored. ICE only checked his blood pressure. By the time he was taken to the hospital, he could barely breathe. Mr. Damas's death was a clear case of medical negligence at the hands of ICE.
These deaths have prompted congressional investigations. Damas is just one example of the lack of healthcare and mandatory treatment for human beings under ICE authority recently. Nurul Aman Shah Alam, a nearly blind non-English speaking refugee from Myanmar, was found dead in Buffalo, New York in February 2026 after U.S. Custom and Border Protections dropped him off miles away from his home. He was released from custody and found dead shortly after, raising concerns about his treatment by federal authorities. Mohammed Nazir Pakhtiawal, 41, died March 14th in a Dallas hospital, the day after ICE arrested him outside of his home. Nazir helped the U.S. military in Afghanistan. There have been numerous investigations into the medical care or lack thereof of these detention facilities. One, by Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff, documented instances of lack of access to prescribed medications, mistreatment of pregnant women, malnutrition and dehydration, unsanitary conditions, sleep deprivation, and abuse in detention facilities. This is Gali Lyons in Greenville reporting for Nightly News. Back to you. There have been several lawsuits brought against ICE in multiple states for the lack of medical care, and each time courts have ruled against ICE. However, the Trump administration has filed appeals. NASA has a major milestone today with the Artemis II launch, the first crewed mission in almost 50 years. A 4-person crew lifted off the Kennedy Space Center tonight, beginning a 10-day journey around the moon and back. After delays to this launch earlier in the year, engineers say the rocket is in excellent shape and the weather conditions are favorable. Artemis II will pave the way for future lunar landings and NASA's long-term plan to establish a human presence on the moon. This past week, Furman held its first of 2 Furman Forward events for admitted students and their families. Avery Johnson takes us to the event.
Welcome to the Pal Party of Furman Forward. Come with me and celebrate these future DINs.
This year's first Furman Forward event had over 500 guests on campus, one of the largest admissions events in recent history. Here, the class of 2030 showed their Paladin pride, connected with current students and faculty, and learned more about Furman. Many clubs and organizations tabled and shared why they love Furman.
I love Furman because of all the incredible people I have met here and all the friends I've made.
I love Furman because I can be so involved in everything and make so many friends. The reason I love Furman is because I love my community here.
It's been a blast celebrating these future DINs on their acceptance to Furman. I've been Avery Johnson reporting for the Nightly News at Furman University. Back to
In case you missed this one, experience the Paladin pride for yourself at the next Furman Forward on April 10th. All admitted students and families are welcome to register. It started with the simple question: how can any nonprofit, no matter the size, tell its story in a way that connects? TJ Rumler created a storytelling toolkit that uses AI to help organizations build a social media strategy. Nonprofits like Girl Up Greenville can enter their mission, who they serve, and their stories they want to tell. And the tool generates a plan for them.
I think having something that's easy to use and does some of that work for you so you can focus on what really matters, serving the people you're serving, instead of just sometimes what feels like shouting into the void, I think is really awesome, and that's something that is needed.
A lot of people I know that work in nonprofit are strapped for the resources in all the ways, but especially time. And this, I think, takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for them and gives them a clear play-by-play.
Besides his toolkit, TJ has also created an Instagram account at YeahMyGreenville. You can view other community member stories and learn more about how to access this toolkit there. Furman students turned Watkins Room into a hub for climate advocacy this week. Harrison Baer with more on the story.
That's right. We have a happening event going on just inside.
On Tuesday, the Furman Environmental Action Group hosted their annual Eco Fair in Watkins Room. At the event, student vendors brought their own homemade items to sell. Products ranged from clothing to accessories and unique knitting designs. One student even made her own brand of keychain decorations.
Okay, so here I have some hand-sewn keychains that I've made. I'm choosing out the fabric, the thread, I'm hand stuffing them. I've added the jewelry myself and the buttons. And kind of the eco twist that I've added on this is that I'm the only one making it, so this isn't contributing to a lot of like fast fashion or child labor that you see with a lot of handmade items that you see in store.
The event not only brought out students, but also locals who aim to promote their efforts to combat climate change.
Hi, my name is Charlotte and I'm here at the Citizens Climate Lobby table at the Furman Eco Fair. And we are a non-profit. We are nationwide, but we have a chapter here in Greenville. And what we do is we help anybody who's concerned about climate change to learn how to go meet with Congress and tell them about solutions.
Furman's Eco Fair is a call to action against large corporations whose mass production of consumables hurts the environment. The student body showed up big for the efforts their classmates put into making their own products.
It's lovely to see the Furman community coming together for a good cause. Reporting from Trone, I'm Harrison Baer.
A strong show of student support for our environment. Grab your cowboy boots. Furman University's only bluegrass band is bringing its signature show to the Daniel Recital Hall. The Greenville Billies have been a Furman favorite since 2016. The entirely student-run band, sponsored by music professor Andrew Carlson, performs a wide range of American folk music better known as bluegrass. They have been hard at work practicing multiple times a week for their spring concert since November. You can catch the Greenville Billies on April 19th at 3 p.m. in Daniel Recital Hall. Their last two shows were standing room only, so be sure to get there early. That's definitely a show you don't want to miss. Now let's check in on sports with Tripp.
Thanks, Gali. We begin with breaking news from the basketball team. This Sunday, Furman guard number 2, Adrian Bronson, announced he is entering the transfer portal for a very successful year for the Paladins. A redshirt sophomore, he was averaging 5.5 points in 19 minutes per game. Bronson was proving himself on the court this year, helping the team to another SoCon championship. He is the first from the Paladins to enter the portal this year. This just in, late Tuesday night, freshman guard Alex Wilkins, a standout player and leader for the Dins, has entered the portal. Alex averaged 17.8 points a game and earned second-team All-SoCon honors. Wilkins was also MVP in the SoCon championship and racked up 21 points against number 2 UConn in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Speaking of UConn, the Huskies have the chance this year to strike gold once again. Both the men's and women's basketball teams have made it to the Final Four. This is their 6th time doing so, with the last being in 2024. Back in 2004, both teams won the national championship, marking history as the only school to ever do so. Could this year be another historic run? Tune in for the women's Final Four on April 3rd and the men's on April 4th. By the way, the women's UConn team will be facing South Carolina, who they beat in the national championship last year. But this is South Carolina's 8th time in the Final Four under head coach Don Staley, and 3 of those they brought home the NCAA championship. The Furman softball team took on ETSU this weekend. The first game was on Saturday, and Furman lost in a 21-2 mercy rule, giving up 14 runs in the 6th inning and at one point walking 7 straight batters. Later that day, Furman lost again 7-2. On Sunday, the Diz took the lead early, but still fell short to the Buccaneers 8-6. The softball team's record is now 5-28, and they will take on UNCG this Friday. Women's lacrosse took on Radford this Saturday, notching a dub and starting their Big Ten record 2-0. Din's Lily Toole and Shane Singa had another highlight reel, scoring 5 goals each, and the team having 16 more shots over Radford. Statistically, while both teams were evenly matched, Radford could not keep up with the high amount of shots Furman took at the goal. Diz would win 17-9. Women's tennis played on Tuesday, sweeping Wofford 7-0. The women's took on the doubles matches 6-2 over 2 games each. In singles, Wofford would struggle with 3 of the matches being won by Furman 6-1 in 2 games. Men's tennis played Tuesday as well against Presbyterian in both doubles and singles matches. Furman took the doubles point, only losing 1 of the 3 matches. However, Furman struggled in the singles only, winning only 1 of the 6 matches. Presbyterian would take on the overall win over the Paladins 4-2. Furman FCA hosted Julian Ashby, Furman football team and current New England Patriot long snapper, last night at their weekly meeting. Ashby served as the starting long snapper for the Paladins from 2020 to 2023 and helped the team secure the SoCon championship in 2023. He was a semifinalist for the Patrick Manley Award in 2024. Ashby was on leadership for FCA's sophomore year until his senior year and spoke to students last night about the impact FCA and football had on his life.
So I just want to say, I just read what's on the teleprompter, all right? Like, I love you guys, though. I love this community, this institution as a whole. You guys are super special to me, the people in this room, and those on this campus. So I'm pumped to be here.
Julian Ashby's message was so good. It's always so special when Furman alumni come back to speak.
It's great to see a Furman Paladin representing us in the NFL, isn't it, Tripp?
Yeah, especially because I'm a Patriots fan, so it gives me one more reason to root for him.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. We leave you now with scenes from the past week.